Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Eagles Latest on Fan Arch. I am your host, Blake McQueary, and as always, we got stuff to talk about. It's Tuesday. Again, a little bit off, fresh off a Rams win, a thrilling Rams win for the Philadelphia Eagles. I talked about all of that last episode, so go and check that out if you haven't already. Before I get into this stuff that we have today, but I'm going to talk about it just a little bit more. We have a few things that we talk Rams, a few other things, but without further ado, let's get right to. So first up, Xavier Gipson, the Eagles, on Monday, claimed receiver / return man Xavier Gipson off of waivers. Now the Jets initially signed Gipson, who stands about 5'9", 189 pounds, as an undrafted player out of Stephen F. Austin in 2023. He made the team as a rookie in 2 full seasons with the Jets. Gipson caught 27 passes for 268 yards and a touchdown. So it wasn't used much as a wide receiver, but as a return man, he was used a lot. Gipson, he was just waived by the New York Giants, who claimed him off waivers from the Jets back on September 11th. That was something I didn't realize. When I had seen the Eagles had claimed Gipson from waivers after being waived by the Giants, I was a little confused because I had literally just seen Xavier Gipson dapping up Aaron Rodgers in Week 1 pregame. So I was confused by that one. But nonetheless, they get him from the Jets. Gipson didn't play for the Giants last week, but he returned kicks and punts for the Jets in Week 1. He had a costly fumble on a kick return in the Jets' Week 1 loss to the Steelers, hence them getting rid of him. In his NFL career, Gipson has returned 44 kickoffs with an average of 26 yards per return. Since the start of last season, with the kickoff rule changes, Gipson has averaged 28.7 yards per return. That average ranks 4th in the NFL among 13 players who have had at least 20 returns. In his career, Gipson has 68 punt returns with an average of 8.9 yards per return, and he took one to the house as a rookie in 2023. If you guys do not remember that game, that was a huge return. One of the most memorable moments from the 2023 season, kicking off the year. Obviously, that was the game Aaron Rodgers went down and tore his Achilles. A lot of people basically counted the Jets out that game, and Gipson had a kickoff or a kick return to walk it off for the Jets in 2023 in that season opener. Since the start of the 2023 season, Gipson has returned more punts than any player in the NFL. So as a return man, Gipson is very, very experienced, and that is why you've seen the Eagles on Monday go and claim Gipson off of waivers. They are bringing him in to be a return man. Obviously, that is something that they've looked at for the past. That's something they've looked at since offseason. Is who can we get as a reliable return man? Who can we get that can impact our return game positively and get us good yards on returns? And Gipson, obviously, they see him as that option. They really struggled to field kickoffs in their win last week against the Rams. It's also worth noting that Darius Cooper, another undrafted guy, the rookie, injured his shoulder against the Rams too. He was a guy that they have really utilized on special teams, especially in the return game. I think that is a big reason why they did not cut Cooper and signed him to the 53-man roster, was his ability on special teams and as a kickoff returner. Tank Bigsby, another guy that they went and got last week, and John Mechie III struggled against the Rams. Those are two guys that are new to this team, to this franchise. Mechie was an off-season addition. Bigsby just traded for him last week. They struggled, really struggled. And as far as who the top returner has been for the Eagles, it's been Jahan Dotson. I think kind of a reason why you go and get Gipson now is you don't want Dotson to fall in line with being your top returner. You kind of need him on offense. You need to utilize him on offense. He is their third option, their slot receiver. So that is something that you don't really want to risk, is him getting hurt on kickoff returns, things like that. So Gipson, obviously a guy who I think is going to come in immediately, is going to play. You're going to see him play against the Buccaneers 100%. Doesn't really need to. I don't even know if they're going to teach him the playbook at all. I think they are strictly signing him to be a kickoff returner and a punt returner, and I think that is what you will see in the game against Tampa Bay. Moving on to the linebacker that has took the storm of the NFL, Zack Baun. Zack Baun, I'm going to say, is the best linebacker in the NFL, and there's a debate, but I don't think there should be much of a debate. The smartest move by the Eagles this offseason by far was making sure that they re-signed Zack Baun. 100%. 100%. This season, Baun has totaled 14 solo tackles, 22 total tackles, 1 interception, and 3 pass deflections. He is the highest graded Eagles, or he was the highest graded Eagles in the Rams win. He had a 90.3 PFF grade, totaled 7 tackles, 3 stops, 1 pass breakup, and 1 interception. That interception you've seen on the opening drive by the Rams. Baun basically following the eyes of Matthew Stafford in coverage and picked them off. Baun right now currently has the highest pass rush grade among linebackers in the NFL at 91.9. That is stellar. But Baun, he has been absolutely amazing in coverage. He has been absolutely amazing in downfield tackling. He has been amazing in QB spy. He has been amazing in taking on the running back, covering the running back through the backfield. Baun has been basically amazing in every aspect of defense, and every aspect of a linebacker, of duties for a linebacker. Baun, one thing that sticks out to me with Baun is this is a guy who didn't start out as a linebacker. He was an edge. He was an edge. Baun was an edge and just one day decided, let me go be one of the best linebackers in the NFL, if not the best. If you're going to ask me, he is the best. But, that is who Baun is. Fangio obviously seen something in him when he was in New Orleans, and I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did because he's been absolutely amazing. The coverage that stuck out to me, though, just being able to, he's able to cover every single position on the offense. Like, he can do that. I have full confidence in Baun being able to do that. He's shown that he can do that. He's shown he can do that. He's shown he can get after the quarterback. He's shown that he has been elite in pass rush. He has been elite in stopping the run. He has been elite on all cylinders. And that is why I say that this linebacker group is already one of the best in the NFL. And once Nakobe Dean comes back in week 5, it's going to be the absolute best. There's no doubt about it. If I'm Fangio, when I get Nakobe Dean back in week 5, I don't know how to explain it. It's going to be what Fangio is going to do with this defense when Nakobe Dean comes back, man, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be historic. It's going to be historic. If you think that this Eagles defense is good right now, just wait till Nakobe Dean comes back. With Baun there, with Jahad Campbell there, like I said, you're going to see Campbell probably go down the edge a few times. Maybe primarily if he can still be elite as an edge rusher. But, man, just the way that Zack Baun has been playing, and Campbell, honestly, they are the best linebacker duo probably in the NFL. And once Nakobe Dean comes back, it's going to be the best linebacker unit in the NFL. By far. By far. Moving on to pros and cons, because I realized that I did not do my pros and cons after the Rams game last episode, so I'm going to go through my pros and cons right now. I mean, it's Tuesday. You know, we still have time to go through pros and cons. We still have time to talk about the Rams game, what the Eagles did well, what the Eagles didn't do so well at. Um, you guys may know, I went through it a little bit last episode, kind of focusing more on the offense, and why the offense was so good. But as far as pros go in the Rams game, um, one, I wrote down more aggressive on offense. That led their comeback. That led their comeback. That was the main part of their comeback, besides Jalen Hurts, of course, which we will talk about in a second, was being more aggressive on offense, playing carefree. Um, I mean, Hurts even said it in the post game was we need to stop playing carefree football that you know limits our ability, and that's shown it right there. Scoring 33 unanswered points, or I'm sorry, 26 unanswered points. I mean, it's that offense that is. I wouldn't say that's the best the offense can get. Obviously, they can get better, but you just that second half of football by the Eagles offensively, you've seen the capabilities of what they can be after two very bad games to open the season up. And all you had to do was just let it ride. Just let it ride. Put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands. And that's my next pro. Jalen Hurts, along with AJ Brown. Let's talk about Hurts for a second though first. I talked about it last episode. He was a full segment, so go and check that out if you haven't. But how killer Jalen Hurts was in that second half. I mean, I don't know if there is an let me say this correctly. If you are a Jalen Hurts hater, I don't know how you can watch that second half and question yourself and question your judgment. I mean, I went through this. I went through his stats last episode of when trailing 18 for 28, 221 total yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, come on. Come on. Completed 7 of his 9 passes of 10 plus yards for 154 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts is starting to. It's starting to become more apparent to me. Jalen Hurts has that Tom Brady mentality and mindset, and that is what made Brady so good. That is what made Brady arguably the GOAT. Is his mindset, his dedication to the game, and Jalen Hurts is showing that. He really is. He really is. I mean, if you watch that second half alone, you fully understand. You just put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands, he's going to figure it out. If you're going to try to make him beat you with his arm, he will. And if you want to risk him not having the option to use his arm and leave the field open for him to use his legs, he'll make you pay. Dallas learned that. So that is just that second half alone. That is why I say it shows how elite Jalen Hurts is as a quarterback in the NFL. A.J. Brown. Let's move to A.J. Brown. He was back to the dog that he is. Absolutely. 6 receptions, 109 yards, and a touchdown. I said it in the preview episode before they played the Rams. It's going to be an A.J. Brown game. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I mean, they've seen a lot of man coverage, and I've talked about that a few times this year. The Eagles haven't seen man coverage as much. The Rams, they did that. I think it was funny because I questioned what the Rams were going to do defensively because of how much they stacked the box in the past two games prior to Sundays, and Saquon make them pay for that. And are you going to risk that? Are you going to risk stacking the box again and Saquon making you pay, or are you going to adjust your defense from what you did and make Jalen Hurts throw the ball? And that's what they did, and they paid for it. That is again how potent this offense is in Philadelphia and how good it is and how many weapons they have. It's dangerous. It really is. It really is. Another pro, Fred Johnson. Quick shout out to Fred Johnson, a guy that they signed after the Dallas game. He subbed in for Matt Pryor. Matt Pryor, who was actually playing in place of Lane Johnson, who got hurt and injured. I don't think we'll have an update on Lane Johnson until they practice tomorrow. So don't expect any of that. But Fred Johnson, he had a tremendous game against Kansas City when he was in. He was a big part of improving the blocking in the Kansas City game because it was not good. And he did the same exact thing against the Rams. I mean, their offense was struggling, missing blocks once again, and they subbed in Fred Johnson, and the Eagles immediately cashed in on a touchdown drive. I mean, he was out there moving guys. He was creating space, creating gaps, and he has been just absolutely stellar since they went and got him again. So shout out to Fred Johnson. A con, the run game. It's so predictable. It is still so predictable, very vanilla. Patullo needs to figure that out, just like he needs to figure out creating concepts for his guys. I'm not going to harp on Patullo. I'm really not, because the offense had a great game. I'm not going to bring up if he was calling plays, if it was Jalen Hurts. Nick Sirianni said it today, or said it on Monday, that Patullo was calling the plays in the second half. I believe he was. I don't know why Jalen Hurts would have been calling the plays, but you never know. But the run game, it's just so predictable. It really is. It really is. I mean, 96% of the time, you're under center, you're running the ball. 91% of the time, you're in pistol formation, you're running the football. And the Rams picked up on that. And that's what it is. Another con, Adoree Jackson and Jacory Bennett. Not because of their performance against the Rams, because they actually played pretty well. They're both dealing with injuries, and that is a con to this Eagles team, because obviously that cornerback spot is just, it's not good. And both of them, those are your best options, and they are C- options. Jackson had an improved game with the Rams, against the Rams, I should say. Bennett made a hell of a play on the blocked field goal, knocking the kicker out of the way for Jordan Davis to scoop the ball up and score. But them dealing with injuries is not the best for the Eagles moving forward. So they're going to have to figure that one out. Moving on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because it is Tuesday. Like I said, the Eagles are returning to practice on Wednesday. Tomorrow is going to be time to shift the focus to this Buccaneers team in this game, because it is not going to be easy. It's not. Tampa Bay is a dark horse to win the NFC. Absolutely are. They are another mentally tough, relentless team, just like Philly is. And that is why I wanted to give a quick outlook on them, because they remind me a lot of this Philadelphia team. They really do. Very relentless, very mentally tough. They never waver in any situation that they're in. And Baker Mayfield, the man leading the charge, is absolutely clutch in crunch time. I want to just look at their comebacks, because they have came back in every single win. They are 3-0, and they have came back in every single one of those games. The Falcons game, Atlanta had a nice drive with under 4 minutes left, finished by a Michael Penix touchdown with 2:17 left to go. They went up 20-17. Baker then gets the football with a little over 2 minutes left, leads a drive that ends with an Emeka Egbuka touchdown with 59 seconds left, and the Buccaneers win 23-20. The following week against the Houston Texans, they scored with 2:10 left in the fourth to go up 19-14. Baker then led a drive, and he was super hot. That led to a touchdown with 2 seconds left to give the Buccaneers a 20-19 win. And then this past Sunday, the Jets game. Obviously, I think a lot of people seen the Jets game, the clip, obviously, Aaron Glenn dancing on the sideline, that was from something that was very similar that happened to the Philly game. They had a similar potential outcome against the Bucs team that the Eagles did against the Rams, blocking a field goal and returning it for a touchdown. The problem is they gave Becker the football with time left. 1:49 was left on the clock. He marched down and got them within field goal range. They ultimately won 29-7. So I think the game this Sunday against the Eagles, Tampa Bay, is going to go down to the wire. I'm not going to give any score predictions right now. Way too early for that. The only prediction I will give is that this will be a very good game and it will go down to the wire. That is all we have for you guys today. As always, like, comment, subscribe, stay up to date with the Eagles' latest on Fan Arch, and we will see you guys next time.